on that shot for a second, Ryan, the photog. If you're not looking at your television, take 1 second to take a look. How gorgeous is that right there? That is a Monday morning shot, for goodness sake. That's right. Of course, you're looking at the Lake Murray Dam here as we're in the middle of Lake Murray, South Carolina, right? Talking about boating, boater safety today. The water is so much fun. Everybody loves to get out and swim from the beach, go out on the water. As long as you do it safely, there is no reason why you should not spend your entire world out here. Sergeant Rhett Bickley from South Carolina DNR. Good morning, Sarge.
Morning, Ryan. How you doing today?
Not too bad, not too bad. So we're talking about basic boater safety. I think every year we kind of have to get a refresher because there are some basics that a lot of people forget about boating in general.
You're exactly right. You know, from year to year, people put a boat up, they take their life jackets or equipment out, forget to put it back in,
right,
or just forget some of the basics just because they haven't been on the water in a while.
Sure.
But it's good.
No, let's not talk about just that alone. Now, South Carolina DNR does offer free boater safety classes, but it's not required if you're over 16.
Yes, exactly. If you're less than 16 years old, in most cases to operate a boat, you are required by law to have the boater safety course. If you're over 16, then you're able to operate a boat, just assuming that basically what you've learned operating a vehicle will make you smart and safe.
Now, do I have to have a driver's license to operate
You
a boat?
do not have to have a driver's license to operate a boat.
So if my license is maybe say under suspension or I just don't have it, it's all you're good on.
You're still able to operate a boat.
Okay,
correct.
And we're going to get into equipment, the much needed equipment here on the boat. When you guys stop by and the counties come by and do inspections of boats, but you also have to get registered, correct? Just like a car.
Yes, it does have a registration for it, and you're required to have it with you and up to date.
Okay. What about insurance?
Not required to have it, but it's a very good idea because one of the things we deal with a lot in my job is boating accidents.
Right.
And just watching out for the other guy, and it's always nice, you know, you may have your nice new boat, but the other guy's boat may not be insured, so you want to be able to...
He may not care as much about
exactly.
his old banger boat, right?
He may not care as much about his boat as you do about yours.
Now, we are going to talk about some markers and buoys and different things that you guys do and some of the information boaters need as they boat along. But are there speed limits? Because sometimes you'll see jet skis going by at 4 million miles an hour, the cigar boats flying out here.
On the waters of South Carolina, there are no speed limits unless it's directed by us with something like a no-wake sign, which tells you that you have to operate at an idle speed. Okay. But other than that, the speed limit is your good sense and the bottom of the throttle for the boat.
Common sense being not very common these days. I don't know about that.
Exactly.
What is the fine for, like, say, a no-wake zone? If you go in, you're going over to Liberty on the Lake, and you see the no-wake zone, you're like, heck with this, I'm going to get there.
110 to 470, depending on how things go.
Depending on how things go. It's called officer discretion, right?
Exactly.
Be nice to your friendly neighborhood DNR, for sure. Guys, if you go to scdnr.gov, I think that's what it is, right?
dnr.sc.gov.
There you go, dnr.sc.gov. All the rules of the road, so to speak, rules of the water are there for you, including the free information, the free resources. Again, free boater safety class. If you're under 16, you got to have it. If you're over 16 and you haven't had a boat before, I don't care if you're 35 and you get a boat, it's probably worth your while.
An excellent idea for everybody to take.
Boating.
Everybody take the course.
All right, guys. So this morning we're going to talk about boater safety, what you need on your vessel, your very own SS, minnow, or whatever, out here as well as these things floating around. How do they get out here? Well, South Carolina DNR puts them out here. We're going to show you part of their job as well as we learn about boating and boating safety here in the middle of Lake Murray on a gorgeous, gorgeous Monday morning. Stay with us. We're going to have more Tyler Vision in just a little bit. Yes, guys, a perfect Saturday afternoon. It's gorgeous outside. The sun is shining. The water is calm, and you're in a boat. In the middle of Lake Murray, of course, talking about boating and boating safety. Sergeant Rhett Bickley with South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, DNR. We are so blessed to be in this area where you have the lake 5 minutes from anywhere. If you're in Chapin or Irma or Columbia or Lexington, you are on the lake for sure. This is an amazing place.
This is my office. I get paid to work out here, so yes, it is an awesome thing to be able to enjoy it.
It's pretty rough for sure. Now, guys, if you had a boat, either you've been riding with friends, if you have an FWB, friends with boats, or you have one yourself, sooner or later you're going to come in contact with Mr. Bickley, his cohorts, who are, of course, someone from Lexington County, Richland County, out here doing marine patrol as well. And you guys come up and you randomly inspect boats, right?
We do random inspections, mainly not so much a random inspection, but look to see what's going on. Okay. Boats that may be acting unsafe or anything like that, or overloaded or something. And then when we do approach them, we're going to do a safety check of them.
Now let me ask you this: when you're talking about car stops and on the streets, a police officer has to have probable cause, facts and circumstances lead a reasonable person to believe that a crime has been committed, and that person committed the crime, probable cause, to make a stop. Do you guys have that same threshold, or can you ease up and go, hey?
We do not necessarily have that same threshold under some of the Coast Guard laws.
Okay.
Although over time we've learned in court as well that it's a good idea to have probable cause, because it's a lot easier to explain why you came up to somebody and stopped them if you've got a reason, a legally articulable reason to say this is why we stopped you.
So when you ease up to somebody, you hit the blue lights, you got the blue lights on the deck. Obviously, just like a car, you've got to go ahead and stop, and you will go ahead, you'll pull alongside and board the boat. What happens at that point?
Basically, first thing we do is just we're going to make sure we know who the driver of the boat is. Because when you've got a lot of crowds, it's not like a car where you're stuck in one seat. People move around a good bit on boat. Determine who the operator of the boat is, and then ask him or her to start showing us their safety equipment.
Which includes
a wearable life jacket for everybody on board that is properly sized and fitting. Especially for children, this is really important. If it's over 16 feet, then we need a throwable device, which would be this life jacket right here. What Tyler's showing here is the U.S. Coast Guard rating. This will tell you what size life jacket it is, who it's made to fit, and every one of them that is Coast Guard approved will tell you who it's made for and what its operational aspects are, whether it's a commercial life jacket, whether it's a recreational life jacket.
So when you're saying properly fitting, if I stick this to my infant and go, oh, he's good to go, but he's only about 4.5 pounds, that's not good to go.
You want to have a properly fitted life jacket. They make infant life jackets, they make youth life jackets, they make adult life jackets, and it has to be proper for the person's size.
What are the gears required out here to be boating on Lake Murray?
Over 16 feet and over, you want to have a throwable device, which is just something you can throw if somebody falls overboard.
Always make sure you hold on to one end when you chuck it, though, right? If you can.
You want to have a fire extinguisher if you've got any kind of enclosed fuel tank or anything like that where fumes can build up. Horn or whistle is required on every vessel, just as a sound producing device. It can be either what's on the dashboard of the boat, or it can be a physical whistle that somebody blows, or a little air can horn you get at Walmart. Navigational lights after sunset or until sunrise, and then your registration equipment so that you know what you've got. We can see that your boat is up to date and registered with the state.
And we talked about this a few minutes ago. Insurance is not a requirement like on the roads, but it's probably a darn good idea.
It is a very good idea, but not required.
Okay, guys. South Carolina DNR Sergeant Rhett Bickley talking about boating safety, boating requirements, boating rules, and I guess the rules of the water. We're going to continue on. And we've all pulled into Liberty on the Lake or seeing the no-wake zones and the caution zones and the buoys that are sticking up. What do they mean? And actually, how do they get there? It's guys like Sergeant Rhett Bickley. We're going to explain all that coming up later on this morning as we continue to cruise this morning here in the middle of Lake Murray on Good Day Columbia. Stay with us. Well, guys, you know what? A broken buoy here on the lake, that means one thing. It's been hit by a boater, more than likely an irresponsible boater. But the buoys are important things here on the lake. They give you information like no wake zones and, of course, things to look out for, hazards here in the lake. Sergeant Rhett Bickley, South Carolina DNR. Part of what you guys do, unfortunately, is to go ahead and replace these things when motors hit them. So what happened to this buoy?
This buoy was in place this past week when I checked Lake Murray. And now it's not. So what that tells me is one of my boaters on the lake was not paying attention to what he was doing. And took out a hazard which keeps other people on the lake from knowing where they can safely boat. So what we'll do is we'll come in, pull it up into the boat. And then swap out, catch the chain for me, Tyler.
Sure we do. Yep.
Hold the chain.
Yep,
hold
got
the
it.
chain tight. There you go.
So what kind of information are you going to get from buoys? I mean, obviously no wake zones, we've all seen those, but what about when you see one off a point or an island? What does that mean when you come to it? What does a boater need to know?
There are three symbols that a boater needs to know.
Okay.
One is a diamond. A diamond is a hazard buoy and tells them, hey, don't operate in this area. There is some sort of hazard like extremely shallow water.
Okay.
As we showed on the tees, it goes from 130 feet to 5 feet in no time at all right here.
And that could really jam your day. If you're motoring across the lake, open throttle, going 25 miles an hour, not only can it tear up a boat, that could probably tear you up pretty good.
We end up with a lot of accidents where people hit items they shouldn't hit. And then end up in the water themselves.
All right, so that we've replaced the chain, we're good to go, and that's it?
Everything else is good. We just roll her into the water.
All right. See you later, sweetheart. And there she is one more time.
Now she can keep people safe off this point this coming weekend when the boat starts back up.
Now, when we're talking about a point here, so you've got this, where is it safe for me to go? Do I need to stay on the outside of this?
You want to stay on the outside of any buoy do never cross between the buoy and the point of land that it's marking.
Okay.
And if it's out in the open water, what we have out here in the lake is islands that weren't quite tall enough to be an island.
Right.
So it might be 6 or 8 feet, even though it looks like flat water. you want to stay just well away, 50, 75 yards away.
So how do I know the difference between, say, a point here and one that's in the middle of the lake between two islands? How do I know the difference?
Basically, that's just boater education and boater navigation laws about where you want to stay away from.
Boater education, something the South Carolina DNR offers for free.
For free.
There you go, guys. So you go to dnr.sc.gov, get all the information on boating laws, rules, regulations, and the free training. Again, if you're under 16, you have to be trained. If you're over, you don't necessarily have to go to the training to drive a boat, but you're pretty silly if you don't, right?
It's a great idea.
All right, guys, we're going to continue on here at Lake Murray with Sergeant Rhett Bickley from South Carolina DNR, talking about some of the rules and maybe some more information that you can learn from boating and some basic navigation laws, like two boats approaching each other. Who turns where? We're going to talk about that coming up in a little bit as we're live and local here on Lake Murray. And how does it always end up that I get put to work? I think I'll grab another buoy now. Stay with us. We're coming back. Guys, you know, when you're out in the middle of Lake Murray, or any lake the size of Lake Murray, 500 square miles of shoreline, and you're out in the middle and you look at the shore, it's very easy even for experienced boaters to say, that looks, no, that's not it. What? No, that's not it either. It's very easy to get kind of turned around and lost out on the lake. Sergeant Rhett Bickley with South Carolina DNR, talking about navigation and the ways you can find your way home if you find yourself here in the middle. Because I honestly have no clue where I am. I know that the sun is there east. Hopefully Columbia is that way.
Good guess. Good guess.
Yeah, I'm like a Boy Scout.
One for one today. Number of things come into play on the lake. Like you say, in daytime navigation, knowing what your islands look like, or just a little bit of familiarization. They make maps that have the different points numbered. You'll see here we're on the tip of Shell Island. It's got the green marker of 9, which is on most of the lake maps. It's got a flashing green light. Some other lake points have flashing red lights. It's just a way of differentiating different areas.
So if you've got a map, and if you rent a boat, generally they have maps on them, and certainly if you own a boat, investing in a map might be right, but you can find that number 9 right there and say, okay, at least I know where in the world almost I am.
It gives you a pretty good idea. And like I say, from Shell Island, like you said earlier, you can go to Lexington, you can hit Newberry Saluda side of the lake. You can just check it out on any given point. There are numbered points all over the lake that are already done up, maintained by SC&G.
Okay.
And like I say, they work both day and night because it's got a solar power battery to it. You can see the green light on top, and once sunset hits, it begins flashing a lighted pattern.
Sure. Now, I mean, a lot of times we've got cell phones and things that give us a little map. You can download real quickly if you find yourself lost, a little, you know, marine GPS or map on your phone. But what if you don't, or you're rocking old school? What are some ways besides maybe the sun, if you're in the dead center going, man, what do I do now?
Best way old school is just, most of the guys I know that are going old school are knowing where they already are on the lake. A compass is a wonderful thing.
Okay.
Being able to, at least because you and I have been out on the lake before when it was so foggy we couldn't see one side or the other, and having a compass in to know just north, south, east, or west, and get your basic bearing so that you can find a piece of shoreline and get a feel for what part of the what part of the lake you're on.
And speaking of shoreline, I guess another good way maybe would just be hit the shore and go look at the address. If you've got a house, they've got to have an address.
They can give you a clue where you're at.
And knock on the door, and maybe they'll let you use a phone or something if you find yourself lost or in distress. Hopefully just lost. Otherwise, you got to call out South Carolina Department of Natural Resources.
We do get quite a few calls.
Guys, if you log on to watch.com, we'll put links for you for SCDNR, but also you can go to dnr.sc.gov, get information on the maritime laws here in South Carolina, including the rivers and lakes, as well as the free training, the free boater training, and boat registration. We're going to recap some of that here in about 25 minutes, but just real quick, again, under 16, you've got to take that class. Over 16, strongly recommend you to take the class.
We'd almost beg you.
But no cost at all.
No cost.
You can be out here, guys. We're getting some more details for you on boater safety, because you don't want to see these guys in a bad situation. That is for sure. When you're out on the lake, it's a perfect day to be on Lake Murray, and you want to make sure that you're around for the next perfect day. Stay with us. We're coming back live and local from Lake Murray. Guys, we've been live and local all morning long in the middle of Lake Murray, talking about boater safety, some boater education, what these buoys actually mean, and how they can help you stay safe on the lake. Sergeant Rhett Bickley with South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, DNR for short. Got, of course, July 4th coming up in just under 2 weeks. That is a great big day for the lake.
It's huge. It's one of the busiest days we'll have all summer long, and you know, some of the biggest things to remember there are going to be your education, your life jackets, and your alcohol consumption.
Sure. Education, of course, the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources offers free boating education and safety classes. If you're under 16, you have to take one if you're going to drive a boat. Over 16, you don't have to, but I think you're silly if you don't.
We'd beg you to.
And what do you learn in that boater safety class?
You learn the rules of the road. Basically, like if you're heading towards somebody and they're heading towards you, you peel to the right, they turn to the right. It keeps you from hitting each other. You learn your different buoys and what they mean. You learn how to pass another boater safely and the different pieces of safety equipment you'll need on a boat.
Okay.
So you get a full comprehensive U.S. Coast Guard education.
And real quick, the boater safety stuff you need to have on your boat, guys, and if you ride with somebody who doesn't have it, you probably want to say, hey, do you got one? But life preservers, a whistle or sound-making device of some sort, air horn, registration.
Fire extinguisher, your registration, throwable device if the boat's over 16 feet long, and make sure that, especially if you're bringing kids with you, that the life jackets that they have on the boat are ones that are properly sized for the children.
Right, and you can find that actually if you look on a Walmart, you can get the Coast Guard, USDA, whatever they are, certified.
Coast Guard on the inside of every life jacket. You've got a Coast Guard rating. It'll
Okay.
tell you who it's fitted for and what size it is.
Sure. Okay. And now let's talk alcohol real quick. We haven't touched on it much today. Although some of the rules are the same for the road, some aren't for water. A .08 is still a BUI, not a DUI.
It is a BUI, boating under the influence. But yes, .08, the same as it is on the road. .05, I have to articulate in court why it was. But a .08 is prima facie evidence that you are impaired.
What can happen if I get popped for
You're
going to
spend the night in jail. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to spend the night in jail, and then you're going to see me in court a little while later.
Right.
Your boating privileges can be suspended.
What about your
for 6
driver's
months
license?
to a
Can
year.
that be taken?
Does not affect your driver's license, but it does affect your boating privileges in the state of South Carolina and Georgia.
Okay. Adhere, guys, to the no wake zones, the no boating areas, like over by the dam where the beach is. There's actually a no boat zone at all. You can't go into there.
Exclusion zone, yes.
Okay, that's the official term, exclusion zone. So guys, you log on to dnr.sc.gov. You can go to watch.com. I know we have links there for DNR as well. Educate yourself, come out, and do it very safely, do it smart. But the lake is, as we learned this morning, is so downright gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And how can you not be out here and enjoy it as long as you do it safe?
Absolutely.
Sergeant
Awesome.
Rhett Bickley, thank you, my brother, for
Thank
all the
you very much,
information. As
Tyler.
always, you be safe. Guys, stay with us. Good Day Columbia, staying live and local till 9 o'clock.